So Nellie here is settling into the farm. She took about 24 hours before we saw signs of eating and drinking. But she's now munching away and drinking, which is good. She's still calling out, but she is much more settled than she was. She's a very sweet cow. She loves us people. She is most comfortable and most happy when we are out here with her. When we're not, she'll tend to be in that corner there, kind of calling for us. And if we're walking around, she follows us all the way around, anywhere she can to reach us. So she definitely considers people her herd, and she would love it if I stayed out here with her all the time because I am her favorite herd mate. But yeah, I can't live out in the field. So she's really content right now since I'm hanging out with her. But I am still very cautious and careful with her. She is a large animal. And all she has to do is swing her head to, brush away a fly and could send me flying. And it wouldn't be her fault. It wouldn't be malicious. It would be an accident. But it's something that with large animals you need to be aware of. You need to keep that in mind, that any little movement on their part could be dangerous. So try not to keep your back to them. Try to be aware of where they are. Try to be aware of anything that might spook them. And just be careful. Not that she's mean or anything. Like I said, it would just be an accident on her part because she's very sweet. And she actually listens pretty well when I've got her out on the lead and walking her around. But yeah, those are just things. You have to be smart with animals. It's not as big of a deal with the smaller goats. There's only so much harm they could do. But Miss Nellie here's a whole lot bigger. She's a whole lot of animal. And it doesn't take much effort on her part to squish something as small as us. I'm out here just to keep an eye on her, keep her away from the door. Because over there, that door needed repair. So the part of the door where the hinges were attached to, the wood got all splintered and split in half and pretty much detached from the hinge. The goats are hard on it. They love to jump up on that door because that's our milking stall. That's where they get to eat all their yummy grains and feeds. So they tend to be pretty hard on that door, and it's a very, very old door. So we're just getting that fixed up, and I'm just out to supervise the animals, make sure they're not a threat. Of course, Nellie here. Yeah, you heard your name, didn't you, sweetie? She's like, I'm not a threat. I'm a good cow. And one thing I just want to say, I was surprised at how soft her fur is. I think I do want to get in there with a brush and try to clean her up a little bit more, but I might wait to build more of a bond with her first. And again, I'd want to be cautious of that tail. Don't want that hitting me in the face or in the eye when I'm brushing her, but she's a very nice cow and she's very soft. And I've quite enjoyed having her here. Been a little bit anxious because she's been anxious and pacing around. She's tested the fencing a couple times. The morning after she came here. So in through that run in, there's a stall, but the access to it is from around the barn and on the other side. So I would take her out on a lead, take her around and in the stall at night. Well, the first morning she was here, and I was trying to get the lead on her to take her back around, Mabel was causing a bit of mayhem and barking at her, and she took off. She came up here, and she got out, and she walked up on the lawn, and out the driveway up there, and then she took a walk up the road. She was just going for a stroll up the road. We caught up to her, got her an apple, and she enjoyed that quite a bit and got the lead on her and just walked her home. But it didn't surprise me much. I mean, she just got here. She hadn't settled in at all or anything. And the goats are still very cautious of her. They are way out there. So we've put water dish on the rock there. You can see it right about the center of the screen. We've dumped hay down for them. They are getting more comfortable. In the first day and a half, they were packed together in a very, very tight ball of goat. Like they were herding really tight, and now they're spreading out and grazing. And they are getting closer to her at various times when we're moving around. They've been much closer to her than they are now. But my hope is that they will get fully adjusted and be buddy-buddy, and then maybe every one of you can kind of snuggle up in the winter and stay warm together. Right, Nellie? Do you think that's a plan? See, Nellie's used to living with goats. But these guys are scared of her, and it makes her sad, and she's lonely. So we come out and keep her company. But it's actually really handy that the goats are scared of her, because keeping her here and the goats way down there, we can fix the door without much trouble. Normally the goats would be swarming that door and knocking everything over and investigating and stealing the tools and just in general being a pest. Looks like we're gonna have 2 new sides to the door. But yeah, in through that door is our milking stall where we collect our milk. I think we're probably gonna have to, before next summer, figure out a fly repellent situation. We didn't have flies much this summer, but this fall they've been really bad. And over there is the birds. We got a new tom turkey. That's him right there. He's an artisan gold. Very pretty. Let's take a walk over there. I bet she'll follow us. We'll take a walk and get a better look. Yeah, Nellie walked over with me, but she didn't surprise me at all. She sticks pretty close, about the length of a lead. Yes, you're a good cow, Nellie. You're a good cow. We're gonna look at the chickens. We're gonna look at the chickens. So we still got a bunch of birds in here that need to sell. I've sold one of my extra geese. I've got at least 3 more to sell. These guys are 2nd generation. They were a cross between an African and Pomeranian. Nellie, what are you doing? She's smelling my butt and the back of my legs. But then we took the offspring from that cross and then crossed them together again, and it's turned out to be a fairly stable cross. They look the same. I've got a bunch of birds that love to hang out over here. Oh, and I got a bunch of extra Saxony boys. There's 4 of them. Nellie's really checking out my shoes. Nellie, I don't need your head between my legs, girl. But he's a nice turkey. I've got 2 of my breeding roosters picked out. I will be picking a white one. I'm looking for one that's got a good, bulky, muscly body, has some feather on the legs, and a cushion comb. But there's so many birds in here that it's really hard to pick out the rooster that I want from this group. I am keeping this red rooster here. I want to do a brown/red pen, a black pen, and a white pen this year for breeding. And one of these black roosters, not this guy that just flapped his wings because he's got some red on him, but like that one that just turned around and ran behind the turkey there. He's a solid black. Or is it this black guy here? Because there's no red on him. So I'm going to pick one of those, a nice big guy that's got a body type that I like and nice feathering. But yeah, that's my plans for the birds this year. I've got a lot of nice birds here. And the interesting thing is, all these birds, all these colors, came from just a few starting stock. I started with buff Brahma, dark Brahma, which somewhat looks like this hen here in the middle. And so buff Brahma, dark Brahma. I started with a dark Cornish and a red Cornish and some Barnevelders. And then I added a Chanticleer rooster, which added the white and the cushion comb. And I'm now breeding everyone for a cushion comb and less wattles, less skin at the face, so they're more winter hardy. But I got all these crazy color combinations out of all that. Quite happy with the birds I'm working on now, and I'm hoping once I start my color pens I'll get a little bit more uniformity with them. And we'll see. Well, this is a first since Nellie's been here. We're over here just putting the door on, putting the hinges on. And for the first time ever, she's away from us when we're out where she can access us. So she's feeling comfortable enough to be across the pasture from us, which is fantastic. That makes me happy. So this is where I've been keeping Nellie at night. We feed the goats in here. They got their salt lick, their hay feeder, their grain. And right over here, Nellie hangs out in that stall. She gets her hay and water in there. She also hangs out in that aisleway. And the reason I'm still putting her up at night is so that the goats can be here and get used to her being there, but still feeling safe that there's a barrier. Without that barrier, they would not feel safe enough to get close. But hopefully over time, and I'd rather sooner rather than later, but we'll see. But in time, they should all be friends with each other. That is the plan. So that's why we put her up at night, so that the goats can get close and still feel safe. Yeah, I'm thrilled that she's over there and we're over here and she's still comfortable. Got the door up and working. Goats are still down there. And all is well.